Hi, this is Sarah from Align with Sarah. Thanks so much for being here today. If you are looking for some information on some buzzwords in the energy world, today we're going to be talking about the word threshold, and it's part of the series that I'm doing on vocab words that I use frequently when I'm talking to my clients, or when I'm doing these videos, or when I'm doing any sort of presentation or workshop. And I think a lot of times people don't know exactly what those words mean or have a definition that doesn't exactly align with um, the person that's using the word. So I put together these videos, and today's video is about thresholds. So if you are hoping to learn a little bit more about um, the the boundaries that we have and the thresholds that we have the choice to go through, this is the perfect place to do your journey today. So the definition that I have put together for thresholds um, is a noticeable place in your life where you can see the changes that one choice can make. And when I say the word threshold, I I literally think of being in a doorway and having kind of like top, sides, here, there. I'm right underneath everything. I'm actually in the threshold. I'm in the transition. Um, and I have this choice to make. So I have this visual of actually a doorway threshold, if that helps you. I'm a very visual person when it comes to thinking about words and using them. Um, so these thresholds that we come to are these areas in our life where it's really this recognition point of there's all this back there, and I can see that I can make this choice to step through this threshold, to leave the stuff behind, to have something new, to be in a new place. And sometimes these are events in our life that are not in our control. We can get news from a doctor that provides this threshold of like, okay, if you keep doing what you're doing back here, you're going to keep getting what you're getting, and the cholesterol is going to be high, or the heart's going to be in bad shape, or there's going to be this strain, there's going to be this dysfunction that shows up or stays around. So our doctor can give us news. There could be some uh, point in our relationship, someone leaves, we recognize that we need to leave. Sometimes there is a place where there's like a law enforcement intervention that creates um, this threshold that we can't ignore anymore. There's other times in our life where we have this like magic dust that falls down on us and it awakens us in some way where we start noticing things, where we start feeling like sometimes it's like an aged part of our life that we get where we feel like we need to have made a bigger impact. We want to make more money. We want a better job. We recognize the interactions that are happening in personal relationships, intimate relationships, and this magic dust appears, wakens us somehow. These things around us um, get our attention, and that brings us awareness of this threshold that we can either step under and make choices to move into a new part of our life, or we can keep doing what we're doing and we'll keep getting what we're getting. It is our up to us, up to my thresholds and the decisions that I make around them, and the opportunities that I make those thresholds, or the burden that I create around those thresholds. That is all up to me. Your thresholds are all up to you. But um, as I say, only you can heal you, only I can heal me. Um, I love that empowerment, because at the end of the day, we're responsible for optimizing our environment for healing and for moving forward to having like more financial flow, a more supportive relationship, anything that we want in our life. It's our job to create the environment to grow that. It's not our job to beat ourselves up or to have regrets or do whatever. It's our job to optimize our environment. So we bring in tools, we learn new tools, we let go of old habits. And in doing those things, all of those things happen in a threshold. We have that choice to make. Um, and I'm doing this video. This has been on my list of vocabulary words to do a video on this for a while. Earlier this week, I had my first Let's Talk on Tuesday event. And I practiced during the day. I had people helping me set up with like my computer so I could share my screen and this and that. And then when it came down to it, when it was time for the event, it didn't happen. The computer wouldn't work, the camera wouldn't work, YouTube wouldn't stream, and I was so hyper aware of the threshold that I was in because I was pushing into this new place in my life where I wanted this new event. I had a crowd of people that were interested in joining the event, and it was all right here. And I had this threshold, and it wasn't happening, and it was going to happen. The universe was asking me, how much do you want this, Sarah? How much do you believe in this? How much do you want to stay committed to this? How much focus do you want to give this? And I was on with tech support. I was doing all kinds of stuff. We were showing things. We were running scans. We were deleting a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, I don't care. This needs to happen. And 2 hours and 15 minutes ish later, uh, it did happen. And another threshold shows up in my life where it felt so good to actually be doing it. And then there was a threshold where I have a tendency to want things to be perfect. And that was not perfect. And I did not care. I was so glad to be there and to not have an audience that I planned on. I just let it go. To not be on the time, I let it go. I wanted to be on, I just let it go. Next week, I know, and forever week going forward, I know. And not dwelling on the imperfection was the next threshold for after that. And then there's another threshold and another threshold. In the same event, there is more and more and more thresholds, and we're always in a place where we can recognize that the choices that I'm making right now are going to help me recognize the threshold I am in, recognize the behavior and the choices that I make behind me in my past, even just moments ago, and then I could make the choice to move forward with different choices, different habits, different belief systems um, that are going to move me in a more positive direction. So there's a lot of power in thresholds. There's an incredible amount of hope that we can have while we're in a threshold. And there's decisions and um, what's the word I want to say? I want to like flex my muscle, like strength, growth, choices, thought patterns. All of that comes down to when we're in the threshold, when we can recognize the threshold and how we move through the threshold. Um, so that's a lot of information about how I picture every moment of our lives, especially when we're engaging in challenges, and um, and those challenges can be perceived as thresholds, as moving forward into something new. So as always, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad to share this knowledge. When you want to explore finding those thresholds, I have a lot of resources out there um, to help you engage in your moments and to be connected to what's happening right now. Why is this happening right now? How is this benefiting me right now? I have programs up on my website for recognizing, releasing, and resetting our experiences in life. And I'm always so happy to be available to help people. The coaching that I offer focuses on that. We work through workbooks that are part of that Recognize, Release, and Reset program. So I will have a link below, as always, to my website and other resources that I offer. And I hope that you have a beautiful day.